Dear brothers and sisters of the world, in this segment, we're going to talk about why is this if clause invalid. Let's delve deeper into this one. The religious scripture utilized an invalid if statement by directing the known present action based upon the unknown future behavior. What does this mean? Suppose a college makes an announcement. You will get admission into this college if you can get above 80% in all your exams. How can this work? The admission is current action. How does anyone know whether he or she can get above 80% in all the exams, which will happen in future? The current known admission is based on unknown future performance. How can it be based upon the unknown future performance? Similarly, here the current second marriage is based on unknown future of doing justice. How can it be based upon the unknown future of doing justice? Also, this has even more issues. There, in case of the college can test and verify the score. Here, who will test and verify this person's doing justice? There, scoring above 80% is measurable. Here, doing justice is not measurable. And number three, at least in that case, if that person does not get above 80%, he can be thrown out of the college. But in case of the current second marriage, when he fails to do justice, who will throw this person out? Number four, there is an alternative action that can be taken, which brings back the original status of keeping the person out. Here, there's no alternative action that can be taken, which brings back the original status of virginity of the women involved. And number five, there no other person is involved and no one else's life is ruined and no damage to others. There are no other victims. Here, other persons, that is, the wives, are involved and their lives are ruined, a lot of damage to them. They are victims. People like Dr. Zakir Naik may try to wriggle out saying, even if the future behavior is used, one can look at the intention of the man. That does not hold water. If only intention is intended, the irreversible situation in case of failure is glaringly obvious. No one knows the future. And if we intend to use the man's intention only about his future behavior, when he fails, the situation cannot be reversed at all. He may still try to wriggle out saying, hey, that's the problem with the people. If people misuse, that's not any fault of the scripture. There's not fault with the scripture. Apart from all the flaws I have pointed out, the following example further corners him. Just as in the example, if you're going to use for a criminal act, don't take the gun. The example that we talked about. The person claims that he will not use for criminal activity. He will not use the gun for the criminal activity, but later on uses the gun. Can it be reversed? Can the victims of those criminal acts be restored? Can the past be corrected? Just as the fault lies in the supplier of the gun, the fault here lies in the scripture itself. Now, his argument, even if the scripture did not give any injunction, and even if there are laws, still non-Muslims have resorted to polygamy. So, why you accuse Muslims? This argument cannot hold water, as the non-Muslims have taken guise of the Muslims to achieve their act of polygamy. Otherwise, the law will grab their neck. His argument is like saying, hey, even if this gun supplier did not supply guns, others have used guns. Why you accuse the people who used guns from this supplier? The accusation is about this gun supplier who employed the invalid if statement. If no other gun supplier is there on the face of the earth and is the only gun supplier, then all the criminals who want the gun will go to the camp of this supplier who has put an invalid if. If you don't have the criminal mind, then take the gun. They all claim that they don't have criminal mind and take the guns. When they roam around, people in the gun camp say, hey, look, they're outside the camp and yet they have the guns. But they made a temporary entry to the camp and took the guns. Similarly, the accusation of the Quran statement is that it used an invalid if statement. People can make a temporary fake entry to Islam as well. The religious scripture is utilizing an invalid if statement by directing the known present action based upon the unknown future behavior. What does this mean? In the gun example, why is that if invalid? How can this work? The gun taking is current action. How does anyone know whether he or she is going to use the gun for criminal activity, which will happen in future? The current known gun-taking action is based on unknown future criminal involvement. How can it be based upon the unknown future performance? Similarly, here, the current second marriage is based on unknown future of doing justice. How can it be based upon the unknown future of doing justice? Also, this has even more issues. There, the government can test and verify the person's criminal behavior. Here, who will test and verify this person's doing justice? There, the criminal activity is measurable or known. Here, doing justice is not measurable. There, at least in that case, if the person does get involved in criminal activity, he can be deprived of the gun and put in the prison. But in case of the current second marriage, when he fails to do justice, who will know and do anything? And the fourth point is there an alternative action can be taken which can punish the person and take proper action. Here, there is no alternative action that can be taken, which brings back the original status of virginity of the women involved. And lastly, there are some other persons may be involved who are victims of the criminal activity. They're indirect victims. No one is directly involved. Here, other persons, that is the wives, are involved and their lives are ruined and a lot of damage to them. They are direct victims. Thank you.